We have all heard the saying, a dog is a man's best friend. But for me, a cow is a girl's best friend. A few of you are like, did she say a cow? The answer is yes. This is Gypsy Rose, an American Shorthorn and my lifelong pal. She is my best friend, and she's not just another cow lined up for the McDonald's Happy Meal. She is actually a free-spirited animal, which I have raised for most of my life. I still remember the day I introduced her to my family, and it all started on a farm in a little town called Perkins. It was the middle of April, and I had just pulled up on the dry dirt ranch, which housed chickens, cattle, horses, and dogs. I had just begun to scan the area, hoping to catch a glance of the newborn baby calves that were born that evening. As I looked around for the owner who was there that would show me where the cattle were, I saw her, the babies. The second our eyes met, butterflies fluttered in my stomach. My heart jumped to my throat, and my hands began to shake with excitement. I felt like a ticking bomb ready to explode. I realized how much she was going to mean to me when she gave a soft moo in our direction. She was adorable. I don't know what won my heart first, the cute little nose or the big ears that looked out to us in curiosity. I could see the intensity on her face when we went over there to meet her for the first time, but she was won over by a big hug by me and a kiss on the cheek. It was love at first moo. I couldn't get enough of her. I was often disappointed when I had to go home on special occasions. I figured in someone's life, caring for a baby wouldn't be that hard, but caring for a 900-pound baby is another exception. Being a young girl myself, we taught each other different responsibilities. Mine was about having discipline and organization. For her, it was about being a sophisticated cow. Sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? But it's true. That is where our journey started at the root of our friendship. Gypsy and I actually began to volunteer at little organizations where children could come over and pet and give a treat if she behaved. If she behaved, that is. It was just a regular afternoon, and I was working at the barn, leaving my bag over by the door. I turned my back for a second and heard a weird sound. When I looked over, a cow had just got into my backpack and devoured my math homework and my Spanish homework down to the last multiplication equation and decir la hora. How was I going to tell my teachers that a cow ate my homework? I was furious, but I couldn't get mad at her. She was a cow, for goodness sake. It was then that I just looked at her and said with a really, really stern expression, "What am I going to do with you?" Days grew into months, and those months grew into a year. And finally, Gypsy's birthday was around the corner. It was around that time that I received the news that my baby was having a baby. I was ecstatic. I was thrilled. I was utterly excited, not to be too cheesy. The only thing I could think of was a little Gypsy Rose running around the barn with a pair of hoofs accompanied by her. While Gypsy was pregnant, we competed in local shows together, just like a dog show, but it was a cow show, and she was the center of attention. Everybody loved her, and she always seemed to gather most children around her. But they didn't know the dark side behind pregnancy. You know how people, or especially women, when they're pregnant, they get cranky, demanding, and a little antisocial. Well, Gypsy was all of that. I gave her oats, she would toss the bucket in dispute, saying, "I don't want that." If I gave her a walk, she would try to headbutt me in my side. She was sassy. But things began to change as she started to get older. It was another beautiful day, and I was at home working on a school project. Everything was fine until I received a phone call from a good friend of mine. Gypsy had gone into early labor. I sped to my barn, and I was down to the heart worried as I saw her laying on the ground, moaning in distress. Sure enough, she was already going into labor, and it was 2 months early. My heart skipped a beat, and I looked around worriedly. And then, finally, 5 hours later, we delivered the calf. He was a stillborn and pronounced dead that evening. I literally cried in front of the vet and my advisor and all my friends, and I couldn't do anything more about it. There was nothing more to do but stay with Gypsy and hopefully pray for the better. Gypsy was never the same after that. But today she is eating happily and running freely throughout my family's pasture. They say the cow jumped over the moon, but this cow jumped straight into my heart. and I will carry her memories with me always throughout my days to come. Thank you.